Ladies and gentlemen, welcome during today's launch of the knowledge exchange program between the Polish and Ukrainian coal regions. We especially appreciate the fact that our colleagues from Washington, D.C. Are with us, especially that it's 7 o'clock in the morning at the other side of the Atlantic. Before I start, my name is Marta Babic. I have the pleasure to work at the National Fund for Environmental Protection, dealing, among other things, with international cooperation. And if I may start with a couple of technical issues to be crucial for the rest of our meeting today. We have the ambition to occupy only 1 hour today of your precious time. The language of the meeting is going to be English. We provide simultaneous translation into Polish and Ukrainian languages. This is available via the Zoom application. It is not available if you use the internet browser. So if other language than English is of interest to you, please refer to the Zoom application. And you can choose your preferred language version via a globe interpretation icon at the bottom of your screen. We also foresee question and answers session at the very end of our meeting, and we invite you to ask your questions using the chat option via Zoom meeting today. I will aim to read aloud all the questions sent and ask our guests to answer them. If I could please ask Mr. Adam Guibourgé-Czetwertyński, Undersecretary of State of Ministry of Climate of Poland, to open our meeting today. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much for organizing this discussion and having the opportunity to say a few words at the beginning is a real honor for me, and as it is a very important, I believe, field of our cooperation with Ukraine and facing the same climate challenges all over the globe, and also the specific challenges that we know in our economies. So I'm very convinced that this is really a timely discussion we are having, and I'm looking forward very much for this discussion, and I hope that it will help Ukraine to better prepare for the upcoming challenges necessary for the transformation in the years to come, and to make sure that that transformation is carried out in a spirit of solidarity, which is so important for us in Poland. And it wouldn't be an overstatement to say that today the European Union is charting a new course for its economy. But in order to make the transition really effective, we cannot walk alone. So we want also our immediate neighborhood to join us on this sustainable path. And in this journey of regional cooperation is crucial to ensure that the economic development of our continent will be not only environmentally, but also socially responsible. We know how challenging it is. We have very much the experience of that in Poland. Between 1988 and 2016, we've seen our GDP double, but at the same time, our greenhouse gas emissions decreased by more than 30%. We've seen that this transformation is possible, but we also have a very good understanding of what the different starting points mean when it comes to energy transition, and how those affect the pace in which we are moving towards this common objective. We know very well the weight of past decisions which were made in the industrial development of our country, and which made us dependent on a very narrow range of options. And we've learned the ins and outs of this complex process to successfully transition over the past 30 years. And in this regard, I must say that the experience provided by the National Fund for Environmental Protection and Water Development has been crucial in supporting our efforts to transition to a more sustainable economy. And based on all this experience, we are very well aware that the transition is a very long and tedious process, but we're also convinced that although it is laborious, it is possible and worth the effort. One of the lessons that I can say comes to the fore during our transition is the one on fairness. We have learned that either the transition happens in a fair manner or it does not happen at all. That social acceptance is crucial for its success, and only a socially just transition can be truly effective as it includes those most vulnerable. And thus it allows all the members of society to benefit from the change. And now in Poland today, we are ready to walk the talk. We have prepared a draft national energy policy in the Ministry of Climate, which constitutes a good example of how a responsible energy policy can look like, despite the turmoil caused by the COVID pandemic. We have based our strategy on three main pillars. First of all is ensuring a just transition. Secondly is to build a new zero emission energy system. And thirdly, to improve air quality for our citizens. And we are deeply convinced that all this transformation will contribute to improving the quality of life of our citizens. And this remains the core objective of our policies. Furthermore, we see an opportunity in these policies to support the recovery of our economies following the pandemic, and we are convinced that these investments, these efforts that we are undertaking to transition can also have a very useful, positive impact on our labor market and our economy in general. And so, summing up, ladies and gentlemen, I think that a green transition of Europe will not be possible if it stops at the EU border. And we are very well aware of all the challenges that our countries transitioning from a coal-based economies are facing. And we are, as Poland, very eager to share our experience with our Ukrainian partners and to support you with our knowledge, experience, and creativity. So dear Ukrainian colleagues, I very much wish you great success on this path. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister, for opening today's meeting. If I may ask the representatives of the Polish National Fund for Environmental Protection and Water Management, the World Bank and the European Commission that have been deeply involved in the project from the very beginning to take the floor, starting from Mr. Artur Lorkowski, Deputy President of the National Fund for Environmental Protection.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Adam, for your opening intervention. Indeed, the challenges of the climate change doesn't stop on the EU borders. And that's the reason why the National Fund, in cooperation with the World Bank and with the European Commission, took up this responsibility of bringing or sharing the knowledge how to do this transformation towards the green with our Ukrainian colleagues. And first of all and foremost, I'd like to thank you very much, our partners from Washington, D.C. and from Brussels, for a heavy job we've done together in order to launch this initiative today. Thank you very much indeed. The National Fund for Environmental Protection is big supporter and promoter of the Polish energy and climate transformation for the last 30 years. As you might see, the amounts of money the National Fund invested in the Polish economy is tremendous, including money we have already invested in the Polish coal regions, in the schemes which were aiming at closure and reducing the mining activities and reducing negative environmental impact of coal mining. And these schemes were amounted to 410 million euro so far. Could you skip? Okay. This investments made already by the National Fund, as Mr. Guibourgé-Czetwertyński pointed out, brought or supported the Polish endeavor to decouple the emissions in Poland from the economic growth. And I think that this lesson we learned in the Polish case is worth to be shared with our neighbors. Here in Warsaw, we believe very much that green transformation of coal industry is much more than only a local challenge. And this belief has been exemplified during the Polish COP24, which has been organized 2 years ago in Katowice, Poland, having at its heart, of course, the implementation of Paris Agreement, but of course, what was very important for Poland, for regional aspects, the issue of the just transition, which has been translated into the form of a Silesia Declaration for just transition. And then now we are in the process of implementing the main principles of this declaration, and together in cooperation with the World Bank and with the European Commission, we are willing to share the principles of this declaration with our Ukrainian neighbors, trying to share our 30 years long experience, how doing the transformation of the coal regions and coal industries and emissions dependent industries so far. As you might know, Poland brings valuable lessons learned to this global challenge. Across 3 decades, Polish coal workers or coal miners and coal communities have charted new pathway for effective regional transformation. Many Polish cities and regions can boast about considerable achievements in this respect. And we are glad that this experience may be inspiring for our partners in Ukraine. The form of our further cooperation with the Ukrainian with the Ukrainian friends will be shaped by the two institutions will be cooperating with, foremostly the Institute for Ecology of Industrial Areas, leading a consortium with Coal Mining Institute, both of them located in Katowice, and they will prepare and offer our Ukrainian friends in close cooperation with the experts of the World Bank acting in Ukraine, a profound scheme for sharing the knowledge on how the transition towards green and the transition after coal might be shaped in Ukraine. And I hope that Director Cofałka, the leading expert of the institute who will be responsible for the practical implementation of this scheme, will share with you some insights how this program will be organized in a year and the months to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Ukrainian friends, I'm truly glad that despite the very difficult circumstances around us, I mean the COVID situation and some limitations in traveling, will be able to start the practical implementation of this project soon. And I wish all of us a great success in doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lorkowski. I would now invite Mr. Arup Banerjee, World Bank Regional Director for Ukraine, to take the floor.
Thank you very much, and greetings to all of you assembled here. It gives me great pleasure to make some brief introductory remarks, partly because, of course, as some of you may know, I actually span responsibilities, having until very recently been the regional director for the World Bank for the European Union member states, and working closely with Enforce and other colleagues there. Today it is, I think, an interesting and very important meeting. Obviously, it would have been much nicer to have had a face-to-face exchange, but due to the COVID-19 epidemic, obviously that is not possible, and I'm sorry that that isn't, but I'm confident that despite that, this exchange will have tremendous value for our Ukrainian colleagues and friends with the support of our Polish partners. For the World Bank, as you know, we are committed to helping all of our member country partners achieve their nationally defined clean energy transitions. It's a really important part of the World Bank's own mission. In every country, and we will hear, of course, from Poland, there are three big main drivers to the transition towards clean energy. There has to be, of course, the availability and affordability of alternative and renewable energy sources. We have to manage the transition and disruption in coal operations. And of course, this has to be underpinned by overall national clean air policies that brings all of the other factors together. It is important, and I'm sure that will be a focus of our discussion today and going forward, that this transition is not easy. It will imply significant social impacts, as well as environmental and economic impacts, especially to different members of society in the coal mining regions and to society at large. So managing these adverse impacts that comes in order to seize the potential and the benefits of clean air transition is the task at hand. Therefore, I'm very glad to have the initiative starting that is starting today. For us, at the World Bank, we bring together experts from different areas and technical expertise from different areas, from the energy and extractives group to our group looking at social protection and job creation, to our groups of experts looking at environmental improvement, sustainable development, and climate change. And all of these have to be integrated because we want to be able to support our partners in inclusive economic growth while managing the impacts on people and communities and repurposing the post-mining lands and assets. The European Commission is, of course, a key partner with us in this area. We work closely with them, both within the European Union member countries, such as Poland, and we had earlier work that this team had done under my oversight in Greece as well, but also now in the neighboring Western Balkan countries and, of course, in Ukraine. And we look forward to work with the various development partners to deliver knowledge to the coal regions and to the governments through this Coal Regions in Transition Learning Academy, of which Ukraine is the first country, thanks to the support of the Polish government, to benefit from this twinning program. To my friends in Ukraine, this is important also because, of course, the Ukrainian coal sector has been facing continued challenges for the past 30 years. Of the 33 state-owned coal mines that are still in operation in Ukraine, 29 of them are unprofitable. So this increases the fiscal pressures on the tight budgetary resources of the government of Ukraine, excuse me, but also, of course, are a big challenge in terms of making sure that the population which supports these mines are not affected too adversely in terms of the transition. So I welcome the development that the government of Ukraine is working on the coal industry reform concept that will call, among other things, for the careful assessment of the coal mines and for a well-planned and managed closure of the unpromising ones and support to the population which is affected. So we at the World Bank are very pleased to be able to support the government of Ukraine in this work with the support of partners such as Poland as well as the European Union. And we will work with the government on how best to address these challenges, to structure the governance of the transition, and to work further with you on detailed solution on social and environmental levels according to the programmatic approach. So let me end by again congratulating the Ukrainian colleagues for their work, but also very much thanking Enforce and Polish colleagues in opening your virtual doors, if you'd like, to sharing your experiences and to working hand in hand with us to make sure that the European neighborhood and Ukraine more broadly benefits from your experience, the knowledge of successes, as well as the challenges ahead. Thanks once again, and look forward to the conversation.
Thank you so much. If I could ask Mr. Markus Bernhard-Heiss, World Bank resident representative for Poland and the Baltic states, to continue.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rup. And let me also thank the Polish Ministry of Climate and the National Fund for Environmental Protection and Water Management and for organizing this event. This is an important knowledge exchange initiative. And we appreciate having you as our strategic partners together with the European Commission. And the World Bank strategy in Europe is clear. To achieve our mission, as Arup just described, sharing development knowledge is key. Poland is perceived as a role model for many countries in the world for its successful transition to high income status. There are many lessons to be learned. But even after having achieved this tremendous development success, Poland is still facing many challenges, including in greening its economy. Helping to build a sustainable green economy is a priority for the World Bank in Poland. For many years, under the leadership of Arup, we've been supporting the government in improving flood protection systems. In addition to that, we want cleaner air for the Polish people. We've worked hand in hand with ENFOŚ, Ministry of Climate, as well as the European Commission to establish and now scale up the Clean Air Priority Program of the Polish government. Now comes the transition to low carbon energy systems. Polish coal regions want to prepare for a managed energy transition. With financing from the European Commission, the World Bank will be able to provide advice to national, regional, and local levels of government on this. It will include a pilot approach to land reclamation and repurposing, support to prepare the Just Transition Fund's territorial plans, and tailored assistance to each coal regions on governance structures, regional economic transformation strategies, workforce assessments, and so forth. The presence of the World Bank in Poland and our work should benefit all our member countries. We want to share Poland's lessons and knowledge. The engagement that we're starting today, this is the first knowledge exchange program to be executed under the Support to Coal Regions in Transition program financed by the European Commission. But we will not stop here. We are also working with our Polish counterparts on establishing the Coal Transition Learning Academy that will benefit from feedback coming from this activity. And with this bright outlook for the future, let me cede the floor to our colleague from the European Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your intervention. Indeed, we would like to invite Mrs. Katarina Sikow, Director for Internal Energy Market from the Directorate General for Energy at the European Commission, to take the floor.
Thank you very much. ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues on the two sides of the Atlantic. I can be very brief because what the previous speakers have already said underlines very much what we also feel. We are very satisfied and we are enthusiastic about this cooperation project that we are here today to witness its launch. I would like to underline that the European Union has put just transition at the very heart of its roadmap towards a resilient, climate neutral and future-proof economy. That is what we call a European Green Deal. It is a topic that we have already been working for some years now, together with many of the partners who are present today, through our initiative on coal regions in transition, which was launched in 2017. Our decision now to extend this cooperation beyond the European Union borders comes from a very fairly simple fact, yet extremely important. We are at the defining moment where important decisions are being taken, be they in Belgium, in Poland, or in Ukraine, decisions that will shape the future of our energy system and to a great extent also our society. So the European Union leads the world's shift to a new way of producing and consuming energy. And because of that, Europe is already becoming a laboratory of how to transform an energy system in a way that does not harm the climate while being fair to citizens and leaving nobody behind. We are gathering experience all across the EU and want and need to share it. Therefore, I'm extremely pleased to see the launch of this initiative that will facilitate knowledge exchange between coal regions in Poland and in Ukraine and help both countries to be more ready for the transformation in the forthcoming years. This is very much a pilot of something that we want to implement in a more systematic way, to build bridges between coal regions in the European Union and in, for instance, the Western Balkans, in addition to Ukraine, to learn from each other and move ahead of together. We are very pleased to have the World Bank with us also in this launch event and in this initiative. We have cooperated very well already in various parts of Europe and beyond. So we will be very closely following the results of this program and look forward to seeing the progress that the project will achieve and can then be brought elsewhere in the world. I wish you a very, very successful meeting and an inspiring twinning experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sikov, and all the other speakers who agreed to open our meeting today. If we can continue with more institutional and practical perspective on the project, I would invite Mr. Michael Stanley, World Bank lead oil and gas specialist, to further elaborate on the decisions behind involving and engaging into the project. Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much to ENFASH and all assembled for the opportunity to deliver a high-level presentation on the motivation for this important knowledge exchange. I'll just mention that while I'm representing a large team distributed globally in Poland, Ukraine, Brussels, Washington, here in Asia, I actually want to signal two important people. One is Brian Land, who leads our engagement on this coal transition within Ukraine, and Rachel Perks, who's co-leading a very important engagement in Poland. Next slide, please. We believe that the best knowledge is often provided through the direct experience of others, and the World Bank has actually for many years been a supporter of these structured study tours where firsthand knowledge is delivered within the context in which it's gained. For this knowledge exchange, we're using funds made available through our SMAP Trust Fund, which is an energy sector management assistance program. And we're contributing in partnership with the National Fund for Environmental Protection and Water Management, commonly known as NFOSH. So these are two funds that have come together in this very strong collaborative effort. And I'll also mention the important contribution of the European Commission, who brings much additional experience and support to this very important undertaking. And I want to thank and recognize Katerina Siko, who just spoke, for her remarks and demonstration of that EC support. The energy transition in coal regions is a global initiative of the World Bank, and it's one that captures and utilizes our lessons learned across actually 2 decades of assisting coal regions with coal mine closures and thermal plant decommissionings. And from this, we have gained many lessons learned. We've organized our lessons in 3 sort of logical pillars. The first is the governance structure, so that the framework for inclusive decision-making is there, giving very strong attention to people and communities to manage the social impacts that they will be feeling, and to certainly provide education and reskilling for future low carbon economies. And then importantly and thirdly, the repurposing of land and assets, where environmental reclamation enables future use of built up capital and built up assets within the region as part of a regional transformation to take place. In delivering this assistance, we're drawing on many World Bank sector specialists and sector specialists from other organizations. And these will include economists, social protection and jobs specialists, environmental science specialists, climate change, energy, infrastructure, education, tourism, and on and on. It takes a very large village of sector specialists to deliver the assistance that is necessary. And as shown on the slide, the support to energy transitions in coal regions is really being delivered through a strong collaboration, as I said, with the European Commission, but also with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the Energy Community Secretariat, the Polish government, NFOSH, and College of Europe, Natalin Campus. So this is a very large collective of like-minded institutions and agencies bringing together the best of their experiences. And as you'll see on the bottom of this slide, not surprisingly, the demand for this assistance for coal regions continues to grow. And that is a direct result of the energy transition, which is progressing globally. Next slide, please. The Poland-Ukraine Knowledge Exchange is a contribution of the Western Balkans and Ukraine platform. So the Western Balkans and Ukraine platform is a collaborative initiative of those agencies that I mentioned previously, and you'll see their logos listed across the bottom of the slide. And within this collaborative effort, we have identified 5 key activities. The first is for strong knowledge sharing through platform meetings. Currently, face-to-face platform meetings are on hold as a result of the COVID-19 considerations. The second is for coal region twinning and study tours such as this one between Ukraine and Poland. The third is new, and it's for a dedicated learning academy to deliver technical education across a wide range of highly relevant topics for coal regions in transition. And then fourth and fifth, we have targeted technical assistance for the regions and financing to support transition projects and programs. I will just mention that this Western Balkan and Ukraine platform is actually the first for coal regions outside of the European Union, who was a founding agency in this initiative. And it draws upon the experiences of the EC platform. And importantly, it has this coal twinning of coal regions, which is so absolutely helpful to those regions that are beginning this long and difficult pathway. Next slide, please. The benefits of the Poland-Ukraine Knowledge Exchange, also called study tours, are many, and they were detailed in the very excellent presentation by Artur Lukowski, so I will not repeat them here. We will have 5 regions from Ukraine being twinned with 3 Polish coal regions, and this allows Ukrainian delegates to hear firsthand from key Polish stakeholders within these regions the experiences and lessons learned following many years of energy transition and regional transformation. And as Artur excellently summarized, that journey is not over in Poland, but already we have many experiences that we can certainly share with others, and beginning with Ukraine. We will complement the experiences within Poland with the additional delivery of global lessons learned and good practices through preparatory workshops that will be delivered to the Ukrainian delegations. There's a lot of global experience that the World Bank and others are bringing to this, and we want to ensure that delegates, when they arrive in the regions, are well prepared for what they see. Lastly, the knowledge and experience of these study tours themselves will be captured so that they too can be shared with other coal regions going forward. And unfortunately, as several have noted, as a result of COVID-19, we will have to go to early online delivery and then travel once that is available to us all. Next slide. And with that, I wish to thank you, and I will turn the chair back over to Enfos. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Now I would invite Mrs. Valentyna Moskalenko, Regional Policy Advisor to the Prime Minister of Ukraine, to take the floor and elaborate on the decision to engage in the project. Valentyna, ja zapraszam was na słowo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for this meeting. We are very glad that our cooperation with World Bank, with our Polish partners, is in practical steps. And we are very glad to inform you that tomorrow we have the first meeting of Coordination Council, and at this meeting we are going to approve our concept for industry reform, for coal industry reform, and to start to develop a national program for just transition of coal regions of Ukraine. So this our learning academy and this our activities is very in time, and for us it's very important because we are thinking about future and have some news from reform our state fund for regional development, and now we have a possibility to finance some pilot projects not only from donors, international finance organizations, but by the support from state budget. So we are working from different sides with communities, with our ministries, and we're very glad that this our cooperation is developing, and I hope after our COVID apocalypse, we will have the opportunities to provide our learning academy and our study tools. So thanks you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Moskalenko, for your intervention. Last but not least, I would like to ask Mr. Piotr Cefałka, Deputy Director of the Institute of Industrial Areas of Ecology, based in Katowice, to give us some insights on the practical perspective on the details and also the experience that we plan to share with our Ukrainian partners in the project. Mr. Cefałka, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I will try to start the presentation here remotely. I hope it will work. Just a second.
We are, of course, ready to help and to display the presentation.
It should be visible now.
But indeed, it is visible. Splendid.
Thank you very much. Let me first take you to the years 1950 to the year 1950 of the previous century. When we talk about the transformation of post-industrial areas in Upper Silesia, we should know what was the typical landscape of this region where heavy industry was located. I mean, zinc and lead smelters, iron smelters, and of course, hard coal mines, supplying energy resources, not only for the region, but for the whole country. Okay. In the 1950, the decision was made to create a voivodeship park of culture and recreation on the area, including former mining activity. This is one of the first activities that were connected with post-industrial sites. The park is a brainchild of the former Silesia region leader, General Jerzy Ziętek, who stood at the head of the park's building committee. In 1951, the construction of the park was started. Mining waste and slag heaps were converted into the oasis of green, and the park is situated among two cities, Katowice and Chorzów. Until today, it remains to be the largest achievement of this type in Poland, and a perfect example of restoring the natural environment and wildlife destroyed by the industry. Today, Silesian Park is, as you can see here, the green area. There are located different facilities in the park. Silesian Planetarium, Silesian Stadium, amusement park, which is now called Legendia, exhibition hall, ethnographic park. And this is the place where all citizens of the region can spend their leisure time, can use this green area. I represent the Institute for Ecology of Industrial Areas, as it was mentioned before, and we are the institute that acts under the Ministry of Climate. It was established in 1972. We are R&D organization, and we have a multidisciplinary staff of 70 people. Our main research and development activities are focused on diagnosing the condition and forecasting quality changes of the environment, transformation of the urbanized environment, also climate change adaptation, which is very important for us as well. And I like to mention here that we have prepared 8 climate change adaptation plans for 8 cities in our region. This was a project funded by Ministry of Climate. We are focused also on circular economy, not only regarding waste and resources, but also circular management of land. Another 2 areas I'd like to mention about are environmental remediation, especially phytoremediation, and biomass production on land that is marginal land or where soil is contaminated. And finally, brownfields and post-industrial land reuse, which we are talking also today in the context of post-coal mine areas. IETU's involvement in redevelopment of post-industrial sites for the last 2 decades, you can see on this picture, it was participation in the year 2000 Social Committee for the Development of Post-Industrial Areas. Also in the same year, we were involved in the project financed by World Bank, and we realized the project together with the Central Mining Institute and City Company. It was environmental assessment study of the hard coal sector. We have participated also in national program for redevelopment of post-industrial sites. We've developed also the first national waste management plan in Poland. And 10 years ago, we have developed post-industrial areas redevelopment program for Silesia Voivodeship, which was also prepared together with Central Mining Institute. For the last decade, you can see many projects that were focused on industrial sites and also connected with the coal mining region. And this year, it's a year when we started national just transition plan. That is the task realized for our Ministry of Climate, and this project is funded by National Fund of Environmental Protection and Water Management. Similar to this project, which we just started today, where we are responsible for study, visit, tours, and cooperation with twinning Ukrainian region. When we talk about the transformation of urbanized environment, I think that we are involved in this process, as I mentioned, from the end of the previous century. The strategic goal is to create conditions and mechanisms for development of post-industrial areas in accordance with the principle of sustainable development. Here we are focused on limiting the process of reducing the surface non-degraded areas, revitalization and restoration to economic turnover of areas degraded by industry activity, and involvement of local authorities and business sector dealing with the rehabilitation of degraded areas. On this slide, you can see the Ruda Śląska case study, where you can see example of brownfield transformation to new functions. This previous heap now is called the Mount Antonia. And this is the heap, zinc heap that was revitalized and changed into open public space with recreation facilities. The success of the project was obtained due to participation and cooperation of all stakeholders, scientists, local authorities, and citizens. The project LUMAT, where this transformation was made, showed results that that the way to manage and methods and tools we developed can be used in practice. When we talk about success stories, I think that there are many examples in Germany, in France, but also there are success stories in Poland. And I would like to talk about our region success stories. But first, let's start with our national operator, Mines Restructuring Company. In a short, we call it SRK, which was established in the year 2000. As you can see, here are some numbers. 2000 is the year when the company started its activity. It's responsible for 14 mines. It employs over 3,000 employees. It employs over 3,000 employees. And it's also responsible for reducing greenhouses emission. Here, as mentioned, the plan is to reduce it 8,000 tons per year. When we talk about the mines restructuring, SRK, we have to mention that it takes care of the environment. It's responsible, as I mentioned, for the reduction of greenhouse gases, mainly methane, but it's also responsible for groundwaters that are pumped from existing coal mines and previous coal mines that are already closed. And the company tries to use water for industrial purposes from existing facilities. Now about our main city, the capital of the region, and the case regarding hard coal mine Katowice. As you can see on this picture, this coal mine was located in the center of the city. Katowice is a city that has undergone a huge transformation from a center associated with industry. It turned into a strong cultural and business organism. Most of the success is the successful development of the mine's post-industrial areas. And the best example, I think, is the culture zone, which you can see on the next slide. The culture zone includes at the moment Silesian Museum, the concert hall of National Symphonic Orchestra of Polish Radio, and International Congress Center. As you probably know, this is the place where COP24 took place in 2018. So this area is quite well known all over the world because of this event. Another example of transformation in our region is a hard coal mine Gliwice. This coal mine, this area is converted now in a new business and education center. It's called New Gliwice. And as you can see here, some of the buildings are renovated. And there are also some new facilities and different kind of technological companies are located in this area. It's electrotechnical sector, energy, telecommunication, IT, aviation industry, and totally over 2,000 people is employed in companies that are located in this area. And the last example I wanted to show you today is our facilities located in Zabrze. Historic coal mines, Guido coal mine and Queen Louise coal mine, now are elements of the route of technical monuments in our region and repurposing post-industrial land and assets. These objects which are located in this area are very good example how industrial objects can be used in different ways for tourists, for business, for education. The Guido mine has routes that are available for visitors at different levels, 300 meters, 100 meters below the surface, and has also the places that can be used for cultural and educational events. Both facilities, I mean, the main edit that is located in Queen Louise mine and the Guido coal mine are among 43 different places that are on industrial monument route in Silesia region. Concluding, repurposing post-industrial land and assets, this is a challenge, but also a great opportunity for Silesia and for other regions where coal mining industry is located. It means that brownfields and wastelands can be used for a variety of new purposes to foster innovation in the public open space, to improve public facilities, including museums, parks, recreation facilities, as you have seen in this presentation, and community centers, and build the network of blue and green infrastructure, for example, to divert stormwater from the cities overloaded, where sewer systems are overloaded. It's an element of city adaptation to climate changes. Thank you very much for my for your attention. I hope that these examples we can show the visitors that will visit our region soon, I hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Director Cefałka. If anyone has a question in mind, that would be the moment to share it with us via chat. In the meantime, I would very much like to thank for that inspiring presentation by Mr. Cefałka on the examples of Polish cities on their way from coal-based to more diverse local economies. These examples would be Katowice, Ruda Śląska, Gliwice, or Zabrze. If we have no further questions from our participants today, I would like to ask for a brief summary from Mr. Lorkowski today.
Okay. I hope there will be questions, so I wouldn't be forced to summarize this discussion. Let me say, today we are launching a partnership cooperation with the World Bank, with the European Commission, with the two institutes we have already in Silesia, and of course with the Ukrainian friends. We hope to be able to share our long-standing expertise on how to change the landscape of the coal regions in Ukraine, and looking forward to have a extremely useful and extremely nice and smooth cooperation with all the institutions involved in that project, and of course with the Ukrainian friends. So thank you very much for being with us today. Looking forward to having a great cooperation with you. And today is only a start. I hope we'll see each other in a year from now to summarize this successful cooperation I hope we'll have. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you very much. We will allow ourselves to keep you all posted on the developments as the project goes. Yet again, thank you so much for your today's presence, spending that 1 intense hour with us this afternoon.